What if I told you that the thing you hate most about your faith journey is actually the thing that's saving it? You've been praying, fasting, believing, and still nothing. The door stays closed. The answer stays silent. The breakthrough stays just out of reach. And you're starting to wonder if God's even listening. But here's what nobody tells you. Waiting isn't God ignoring your request. It's God investigating your heart. Exodus 32:1 says, "When the people saw that Moses delayed coming down the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said, 'Make us gods who will go before us.'" 40 days. That's all it took for Israel to trade the living God for a statue. Because when heaven feels quiet, the human heart gets noisy. They couldn't handle silence, so they filled it with something shiny. And we still do it. Think about it. When everything's going well, we all look like giants of faith, but waiting strips away the performance. And in that lonely, silent space, you discover whether you love God for who He is or just for what He gives. Psalm 27:14 says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord." Notice it says, wait twice. The first wait is when you're hopeful. The second wait is when you're tired. And it's that second wait that actually builds you. Modern world tells you waiting is wasted time, but God operates in seasons, not seconds. James 1:2-4 explains it. "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." When God makes you wait, He's not withholding your blessing. He's maturing your capacity to handle it. That's why the mirror of waiting is actually a gift. It shows you the cracks before the wait comes. For some of you, waiting is exposing control. For others, it's revealing your worship of comfort. And for many, it exposes the idol of approval. But here's the grace. God isn't exposing your idols to shame you. He's revealing them to free you. Let me tell you about Abraham. Genesis 12. God promises him a son at 75 years old. But then, silence. Years pass. No son. And somewhere around year 10, Abraham thinks, maybe I need to help God out here. Genesis 16. He sleeps with Hagar and has Ishmael. It seemed logical, practical, even spiritually justifiable. Wrong, because God didn't just promise a son, He promised a miracle. And when you manufacture miracles with human effort, you don't get blessing, you get complications. The second hidden advantage. Waiting detoxes your need to manufacture what only God can originate. Waiting burns away your addiction to your own ability. It strips you of self-reliance until all that's left is God-dependence. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." As long as you think you can figure it out, you won't fully trust Him to work it out. In our world, we're taught that if you want something done right, do it yourself. But there's a difference between diligent obedience and anxious striving. For some of you, the detox is financial praying for provision but taking shortcuts. For others, it's relational, waiting for a godly spouse but settling for situationships. And for many, it's vocational, waiting for the door to open but building counterfeit purpose. But here's what the detox teaches you. God's delays are not denials. They're detoxification. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "But those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Waiting comes first. Not working, not hustling, waiting. Think about the Israelites. Exodus 14, trapped at the Red Sea, Egyptian army behind them. And Moses says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Be still. In a crisis, sometimes the greatest act of faith isn't doing more. It's doing nothing and watching God do everything. Hey, if this is hitting you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Drop a comment. What's one thing you've been waiting on God for? I'd love to pray with you. Now, let's keep going. You ever feel like you're in a divine traffic jam? Every route keeps hitting a dead end. Door closed. Opportunity denied. Relationship ended. And you're thinking, God, I thought this was your will. Why are you blocking me? The third hidden advantage. Waiting redirects you from your plan to His purpose. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." We plan the destination. God directs the steps. Look at Joseph. Genesis 37. Dreams from God showing greatness. And then, his brothers sell him into slavery. Prison. 13 years of closed doors. But here's what Joseph couldn't see. God wasn't closing his future. God was redirecting his path. If Joseph had stayed comfortable in his father's house, he never would have been positioned to save nations from famine. Genesis 50-20. Joseph tells his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." What looks like delay is actually divine positioning. Some of you are in a season where every door you wanted is locked, the job denied, the relationship ended, the opportunity gone, and you feel betrayed. But what if that closed door isn't rejection? What if it's protection? Exodus 13:17-18 says, "When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. The shorter route would have destroyed them, so God took them the long way to protect them." For some of you, the redirect is vocational. Every door closed, now you're somewhere else feeling off track. But what if God is positioning you for a purpose you couldn't see before? For others, relational, you prayed for someone, God removed them. What if that removal was protective? For many, geographical, you wanted one place, life took you somewhere else. What if God moved you to position you? Acts 16. Paul wants to preach in Asia. Noble intention. But the Spirit blocks him, redirects him to Macedonia. In Macedonia, the gospel explodes across Europe. The block wasn't a no, it was a not there. Every divine redirect is God saving you from the lesser yes, so He can lead you to the greater yes. So if doors keep closing, don't panic. Pause. Don't see rejection. See redirection. Let's talk about the most overlooked advantage. Waiting prepares you for what you're praying for. We spend time begging God for things we forget to ask if we're ready to handle. We want the promotion, but not the pressure. The platform, but not the responsibility. And God makes us wait, not to withhold the gift, but to strengthen the vessel. 1 Samuel 16. David gets anointed as king, but then nothing. Back to the fields, back to the sheep. For 15 years, he's running for his life. 15 years between anointing and appointment. But those years developed his character for the crown. In the fields, David learned to worship when no one watched. In the battle with Goliath, he learned to fight when everyone doubted. In the cave, he learned to trust when everything looked impossible. Because here's the truth. The thing you're praying for comes with a weight. If God gave it to you today, it would crush you tomorrow. So God makes you wait. Not to be cruel, to be kind. For some, the preparation is financial God, teaching you stewardship with little. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." For others, relational God healing your heart from past wounds. The waiting is healing disguised as delay. For many, spiritual God breaking your pride. Promotion without preparation leads to pride, and pride leads to a fall. Think about Moses. He tries to deliver Israel at 40. Kills an Egyptian, tries to play hero. It backfires. He runs into the desert for 40 years. But those 40 years forged the leader who would part the Red Sea. At 40, Moses tried to deliver in his own strength. At 80, God used him to deliver in divine power. Waiting doesn't delay your calling, it matures you for it. So if you're in a season of delay, embrace it. Ask God, what are you preparing in me? Because the answer is the key to everything you've been praying for. We're almost at the finish line. Waiting refines your worship. When you first started praying, you wanted the blessing. But somewhere in the waiting, something shifts. You stop chasing the gift and start cherishing the giver. Psalm 73-25 says, "Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you." That's the declaration of someone who's been in the fire long enough that everything else burned away except love for God. The ultimate advantage. Waiting transforms transaction into devotion. At the beginning, you pray because you need something. By the end, you pray because you need someone. Job 13:15 says, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him." That's refined faith. Worship that says, even if you never give me what I asked for, you're still worth praising. Malachi 3:3 says, "He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver." The refiner puts silver in the fire to purify it. He watches, controls the heat. He knows it's ready when he can see his reflection in it. That's what God is doing in your waiting, refining you until he can see his reflection in your life, until your worship is pure, until your love for him is no longer dependent on what he gives, but anchored in who he is. Romans 5:3-5 says, "We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." Suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character. Character produces hope. That's the refining process. So if you're in a season of waiting, don't waste it. Don't numb it. Don't rush it. Let it do what only it can do. Let the mirror show you what you really worship. Let the detox burn away self-reliance. Let the redirect position you for purpose. Let the preparation mature you. And let the refinement transform your faith. Because when the waiting is over, and it will be over, you'll realize God wasn't late. He was right on time. Isaiah 64:4 says, "No eye has seen any God besides you who acts on behalf of those who wait for him." He acts for those who wait, not those who rush, not those who quit, those who wait. So wait well. Wait with faith. Wait with expectation. Because the God who makes you wait is the same God who never wastes a moment of it. And when he finally moves, you won't just get the blessing. You'll get the testimony, the character, the intimacy with him that no shortcut could ever produce. That's every hidden advantage of waiting on God. Not wasted time, sacred preparation. If this message is hitting your spirit, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and share this message to others.